Well, hello and welcome back to the Love Machine podcast. Now, today I'm going to be talking about an issue that many of you single people out there are probably experiencing. You might feel you're the last single person left in the whole world. Maybe you've gone to a wedding recently, or you've got plans to go to a wedding, and you're sat on the single table, or all your friends and family are out there, or all paired off, and you feel you're the last one standing. And it can be quite a distressing and frustrating time. And it's something that many of my clients do experience. But the good news is this podcast is all about being happily single and branding yourself for success. So what does that mean? That means branding yourself as single and embracing it and being proud of it. And to help me on this podcast, I've got some absolutely amazing help coming from Shannon in the city. Because Shannon Tebb is a dating coach, she's a wing woman and a boutique matchmaker, and she's lived and worked in Toronto for the past 18 years. And she's been a dating consultant for a good 10 years of that. So Shannon, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, James.
You are very welcome. Now, we connected recently on LinkedIn, and I already knew what you've been up to because I've been watching your amazing videos and your posts all over social media. So I know you were just the person to talk to on this subject, which is all about embracing being single. So tell me about yourself. How did you get started in this?
Well, actually, I was inspired by the movie Hitch. I really felt compelled to help singles, put themselves out there and what I like to call become 100% date ready. So knowing that you can find love at any age, at any time, and just because a marriage didn't work out and you're divorced doesn't mean you can't, find love again.
That's right. Everyone has an opportunity out there to meet somebody new. And if you had a breakup or a bad experience, then we can learn from that and we can move on. So what do you do more? Are you more a date coach? Are you more a matchmaker? Do you do more? Obviously, the wing woman stuff, probably not so much right now. But what's your favorite?
Yes, the wing woman stuff has been put on hold for now due to, social distancing. It's hard to kind of, do that aspect of it. But boutique matchmaking has blown up. A lot of singles are really excited to get back out there and meet for socially distanced walking dates or picnics in the park, as well as dating coaching. A lot of people that have exited a relationship, a long-term relationship, may not know where to start, what to do, what are the dating resources out there, and that's why they contact me. So I'm able to facilitate the steps along the way, which is great. It's almost like having your own personal wing woman.
That's fantastic. I've experienced the same thing, and there's been a lot of breakups due to the whole COVID thing. People that weren't necessarily happy in their relationships have split up, but people are generally looking for a new opportunity, looking for new long-term serious relationships. So people are coming to us as dating coaches and indeed matchmakers to look for a long-term solution. But people really do struggle with the fact that they are single and they hate to call themselves that. Do you find that as well?
Yes, I think, there was a stigma attached around, oh, you're single and you're still in your 40s. But now we're kind of like embracing being single. And really as a dating coach, it's my job to kind of motivate singles to really get to love themselves first. And I know that sounds cheesy, in order to attract love, you have to love yourself first. We all know this, but are we practicing it? Are we thinking about things we're grateful for? Are we thinking about our best attributes? Are we asking ourselves, how do we show up in a relationship? These are questions that we need to kind of sit and self-reflect and really think about.
I agree. I always teach people that as well. I say you've got to love yourself, otherwise how can you really expect somebody else to? And it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true, isn't it?
Yes, it's, in order to, I always try to, discuss attracting the right people into your world. So how do you become that magnet? And again, you want to, create that energy around you and kind of brand yourself as a single in a positive way so that people are, feeling that you're open and not thinking, wow, is she married? Is he taken? But how do you show up in a physical environment? Thinking about your body language, your eye contact, how you walk into a room and exit a room. All of these things are kind of, important for that first impression.
They are. I think some people do feel a sense of shame that they are single and they're almost embarrassed for it. But I think what you're saying is absolutely right. That is almost over. That stigma is gone now. And people are just experiencing this for a short term. because they're feeling some pain at that particular moment. They're feeling a bit lonely. But you're right, it's all about going out there and getting new opportunities to meet new people. And it is how you walk into a room. If you walk into the room and your head is down and you're frowning and you avoid eye contact with people, you're never going to meet anybody. It's about having the right sort of energy and the right frame of mind. So what tips could you give someone listening on energy and how to do this?
And also I'm an advocate of like inner circle recruitment. So when you are out in public with friends and people are talking about, so are you single? Are you dating? Don't be afraid to put it out there and say, you know what? I live this great life. I'm super happy. Work's going well. The last missing piece of the puzzle is, I really want to meet someone and I feel ready. And when you put that out there, you never know who's going to introduce you to someone. So always just, I'm not saying walk around and being like, I'm single, everyone, help me out. But like, don't be afraid to, tell people that you're ready and show them that you're open to love.
How would somebody do that? I'll give you an example now that I've been approached and worked for a few companies over the years that have little badges, for example. Every few years this happens. Someone brings out a new badge or a new little sign. You're laughing because you've heard this. And they bring out these little pins or badges or little thing that you wear, an item of jewellery that says to everyone that you're single. And it's a secret code. If you know what it means, you can go and approach them. The trouble with this is it's a lovely idea, but people in general don't know what this means. And you're walking around advertising the fact you're single with a little badge. But if only one person in every million knows what this means, it's a bit pointless. Have you seen those sort of things?
Yes, like I've heard, people wearing bracelets or, maybe a shirt that says I'm single, come talk to me, come say hello.
Do they exist?
Yeah, but really it's kind of like you don't want to like label yourself and like walk. I feel like you should just be kind of like practicing this on a daily basis. And a good way is to, one of my favorite tips I have is to act like a tourist in your own city, because that really forces you to talk to strangers. And when you're talking to strangers, it's going to help you, connect with people you've never connected with. And you never know when, you could meet somebody special and that could and you could end up in a relationship as well. So practicing asking people questions, where's this restaurant? I think it forces you to step outside of your boundaries.
That's a really important tip. And many people are just afraid, particularly over here in the UK. People don't go and start conversations with strangers. It isn't the done thing. So I will tell everyone that comes to me to talk to everyone that you meet. Everyone you meet, the checkout girl in the supermarket, the man you meet at the bus stop, the person that you can meet asking for directions. These are all interactions. And the more you have, the more chance you have when you actually count and you do like somebody that you're going to make a success of it. So I think talk to everyone, become friendly as you can. Because as you mentioned earlier, you never know who that person can introduce you to.
Exactly.
In the same way, if you go out dating and you have a date and it doesn't really work out, still be friendly and leave them on good terms. Because they might have a friend, they might have a sister or a brother they can introduce you to.
Exactly. And I think, ending a date and, providing that date feedback, like it was nice to meet you. Obviously, maybe I didn't feel the sparks, but I'm very grateful for the date and thank you. Like always showing gratitude is a very important thing. A lot of times we hear about ghosting and people not hearing like what happened. They thought they had this great date and then they're left with nothing. So always practice great date etiquette and make sure you're communicating how you felt about the date.
How would you tell someone that you're not interested who doesn't take the hint?
So if he keeps texting you, keeps calling, I would just be very straight to the point and polite. Hi, Jason, I enjoyed meeting you, but, I wasn't feeling energy between us. I think you're a great guy. You have a great personality, but I wasn't feeling the sparks. And, I know that you're also looking for chemistry and I wish you all the best. But we could stay in touch as friends. I think just being mature about it and polite and classy, that's the best approach.
It's about treating people with respect and in the same way you'd like to be treated.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Don't ghost people, don't cut them off, don't be rude, don't be horrible, don't use the excuse to end it as a little dig at them, to insult them in some way. Just think how you'd like to be treated and just treat them like the same way. Because that is what embracing being single is all about. It's being proud of who you are and being respectful. Now, you mentioned gratitude a few times earlier, and that is
Yes.
so important. Gratitude is something people probably have more of now than they did 3 or 4 months ago. We all appreciate what we've got around us, our social circle, our friends, the freedom to do things, because we haven't had it. So, what tips could you give someone listening to be more grateful in their lives if they struggle with that?
So I always say, practice an attitude of gratitude and write that down on a whiteboard or, post it somewhere in your house. So you wake up in the morning and maybe you list 5 things you're grateful for before you go to sleep and in the morning. And this is a great exercise to get you in that powerful mindset. And also another good tip for dating is to remove expectations. So a lot of times we may go into a date thinking, oh, he's taking me for a steak dinner, or we're going to this elaborate restaurant, and then we're left disappointed. So when you remove dating expectations and you go in with a clear mindset that this is going to be a great time, I'm open to anything that comes my way, that's when you have the best dates. When you're not having these like high expectations, you're able to let in, simple pleasures and just let things flow.
My dad used to say to me that he who expects nothing will never be disappointed. And therefore, that's a good attitude in some ways. It's a bit negative, but I think it's better that if you don't have any expectations going into a date, that this is going to be the most amazing person you've ever met, or they'll take you to somewhere glamorous, then all you can do is be pleasantly surprised by that. Because every date you go on is an opportunity. You might have been single for 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, it really doesn't matter. Because you've had the time to work on yourself, to think about what you really want. And I'm going to come on to this towards the end of our little chat. I've got some 6 of my dating expert tips I'm going to run by. I'd love to have your feedback on them when I've read them out. I like to do that in my podcast because it's a bit of fun.
Okay.
So I think the gratitude is so important. People need to experience that and they need to realise what they've got. I make lists myself every day for things I'm grateful for, things I have to look forward to, and it really does help.
Yes.
Unless you've got OCD and making lists doesn't help.
And yeah, one other tip, just ending a first date. A lot of times I have like these great tips for a first date. A nice exit too is to text the person and let them know something specific that you enjoyed on that date. So by listing a specific thing, maybe it was the dinner, maybe it was the beautiful park you went to, that also helps create that connection and shows gratitude. So be specific. Don't just say, hey, I had a great time, but wow, I really love that park you took me to. It was such a beautiful scenery. Thanks again, it was a great time. That's going to add a little bit more substance than just saying, hey, great to meet you, have a good night, right?
They're going to feel appreciated. And
Exactly.
all the planning and hard work they might have put into this, even the expense, is going to be appreciated. And they're going to think, do you know what? I want to see them again, even if it's just as a friend, because this person cares. This person's noticed the effort I put into it.
And they've mentioned it, right? And people aren't mind readers. So part of dating is being vulnerable and sharing feelings and thoughts and not questioning, should I text her? Should I not text him? Should I call him? Am I going to wait 3 days? There's really no rules, okay? Like these old rules we were taught to like wait, 6 hours before you text the person back and all these little things I hear. It's like, no, just be very present in that moment. If somebody texts you, respond like you would to anybody. It's not a game. And, why play games? You're just actually stalling the process.
You are. There's no reason to wait if someone you're interested in contacts you, because then you
Mhm.
are playing games. You're just manipulating people for the wrong reasons. But I do think that dating is a game, actually. I think dating is a game that you play and you both win. That's the difference. You're not competing. You're both winning to be with each other. And then at the end of it, you're going to be happy ever after. So games are fun. Dating should be fun. If it's not fun, you're doing it all wrong. That's what I think. But
It's almost like you said, it's like a game. And when I think of a game, I think of, dating as practice. And dating is almost like a game of ping pong, where you're bouncing off of each other during the date conversation. And I always like when I'm coaching clients, I do mention ping pong, and that really sinks in because they're like, wow, okay, I need to be bouncing ideas, sharing, stories, experiences, not just drilling questions at somebody and making it feel like it's an interview, but rather thinking number one thing is connecting, feeling safe with your date, and having fun and making it meaningful.
People do not know how to do that though. Sadly, most people. I
Yes.
had a client the other day. He had a wonderful date lined up, and it didn't go very well. So I asked him what he talked about. He said he asked her where she worked, where she lived, what she did, all the standard boring questions. He didn't build any chemistry, didn't build any connection. But bless him, he took my advice and he went off had an amazing date with somebody else once he learned what to do.
Great.
Yeah. Now, one of the biggest questions people do get asked when they're single is that maybe they go to a family dinner and some old aunt or granddad says to you, "Why are you still single? Why haven't you got married yet? What's going on?" What is your advice to someone that gets asked that question?
Well, I think, especially in this day and age, a lot of people have put their careers and education first. Millennials are very focused on, getting the education, working, and are very self-sufficient. They're homeowners on their own. They're not waiting to meet a partner to do it. And I think that people are just kind of entering serious relationships later in life. Like for me, it was like more in high school and university, people met people. But now I'm seeing, clients come to me in their 30s who may have not had like a ton of long-term relationships because they've been focused on other goals, and now they feel like it's the right time. So really it's all about timing. So to answer that question to a family member, you could simply say, now that I'm done school and all this is complete, I am ready to, focus on my love life and put myself out there. And there's really no right or wrong answer or time where, we're not on this timeline. So I think it's just each individual. It's when they feel they're ready.
It is, and it's nobody else's business. I think if someone asks you that, you don't
Exactly.
have to answer it. Say I'm exploring my options, or I'll tell you one day I don't really care. It's not an important thing. A lot
And
of people on
sometimes
date.
and some people are happy just, being on their own and figuring out who they are and, learning more about themselves first before they want to include somebody else in their life.
I tell my clients that they don't need somebody else to complete them. They're not looking for their other half. And they tell me that I want to meet my other half. But you're complete as you are. You are enough. That is a mantra I tell people to say to themselves every single day. If you're feeling lonely, you're feeling embarrassed to be single, say to yourself, I am enough. And yet that's the best way to feel this and to experience it. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. It's about meeting someone that will add value to your life. So, and a good exercise for this is to look inward and think about, what can you offer a relationship and what are your best attributes and what are things perhaps that you want to kind of tweak or work on before you enter a relationship. And if you need help with certain things, that's where dating coaching comes in, and that's where you can source out a professional to help you. Maybe it's working on, life skills, giving and receiving feedback, effective communication, active listening. All of these life skills go hand in hand when it comes to having a successful relationship. If you can't be vulnerable, if you can't share with your partner, there may be some, mishaps along the way. So I think just being really clear with who you are and what you can offer and make that list. And if you're like, actually, I've never thought about it, then maybe start small and think about what are your best attributes? Or ask your friend, how do I show up for you? That's a really powerful exercise. A lot of times we don't know how our friends perceive us. And by getting that information, we can write that down and reflect and say, wow, I didn't know that they thought I was this way. And then you can transfer that into the relationship.
I completely agree. I ask my clients that. They always say, I want this in a person. I want this in a partner. I want this. I've got this ideal list of their perfect partner. And I say, well, that's wonderful. What do you have to offer?
Exactly.
What makes you so special? What are your unique selling points? And I don't do that just to make them feel bad and to insult them. I do it to make them really think, because everyone's got things that we're good at. Maybe you're amazing with children. Maybe you can play the piano. Maybe you have got 6 master's degrees, whatever it might be. And then think about personality-based attributes as well. Maybe you're really kind. Maybe you're,
Yeah, maybe you're empathetic and, caring and nurturing.
yeah, whatever it might be, you've all got something to offer. Let's talk about something else you've mentioned a few times, vulnerability. Because I find people are so vulnerable when they're single, and many people have been hurt. In fact, all of us have been hurt at some point in our lives, from one way or another. And some people do try and protect themselves by building up this wall around themselves. this impenetrable wall that is around us, and it's built up, and that is blocking people from getting in as well as the real you getting out. So what advice do you give people that are single that are struggling with that?
So, I think it's important post breakup to do the work and to really, take the time you need, not to just dive into a new relationship because you're already going to be a little jaded and guarded. So, you want to kind of, heal through that process. And then when you do start meeting somebody, getting rid of all that negativity, not going into the date thinking, oh, this is going to be another waste of my time, or, I'm sick of online dating. These guys are all jerks. But like going in with a positive mindset, and researching and reading a little bit about their profile and thinking of questions you can ask based on their profile and their interests, not just like going into it like in your yoga pants and like not putting in the effort, so, dressed, date attire, and feeling in a good mindset. I always say, like, if you're feeling like under the weather, you're not in the right mood, can't, reschedule the date, because that first impression is everything. And you want to like go into it feeling like perky and happy. And some things to do that is like self-care, get in your workout, maybe go for that pedicure, blow dry your hair, like get yourself feeling pretty and primed, and know that it's a date. It's not just meeting someone for coffee, but it could be meeting your future partner, and you want to put in that effort and you want to show up ready. Like I like to say, date ready.
It's all about how you start the date as well. Because you're right, it's not friends catching up. It's not a business meeting. It's not just hooking up. It's not that. You're there to meet a future partner and to really get to know them. So the way that you start the date is so, so important. You don't just shake hands with them. You don't just do nothing. You don't try and kiss them straight on the lips at the first moment you grab them. So I think a little peck on the cheek and a little hug is absolutely fine to do that. So you start as you mean to go on. What else would you say is the best thing they can do to start a date off well?
Well, I think they can compliment each other. I always tell women, compliment the guy. Like if he's wearing a nice shirt, don't be afraid to mention that. Wow, like that's a great color on you. You look really nice. Men put in the effort as well to show up for the date, and they appreciate the compliment. And same for the man. You don't want to compliment like physical attributes on her, but you could say, wow, like you have great energy. I saw you come through the room and you have this amazing smile. It's really like beautiful, even more in person, right? Because you've only seen each other through photos. So yeah, don't be afraid to compliment each other, break the ice, think about your physical date environment, compliment the place you're at. Thank you for choosing this. Thank you for accommodating me and meeting me halfway. Again, that's where the gratitude comes in, but also being aware of being flirty and, not being afraid to be a little flirty and like, maybe like maintain eye contact, bat your eyelashes, kind of touch your hair. If he is saying something that's cute and funny, you can reach out and kind of touch his arm, making kind of like, I call it nonverbal communication. So being open to that, not just sitting really stiff, like you can't move. So, switching up your body language, getting comfortable, moving around in the chair. Oh, another great tip is rather than sitting at a table where you're across from each other, I always like to say sit at a bar so that now with social distancing, you kind of have to remain spaced. But before this, sitting at the bar where, your legs can touch and you're kind of facing towards each other and you're getting shared appetizers. It's a sensual experience. It's communal. It's intimate, and that's where it feels like a date rather than sitting across from each other like a job interview.
When you're sat across each other at a table, you've got a barrier right between you. You've got the table, you've got the drinks, you've got the condiments, whatever it might be. So it's really, really hard to reach out and touch them and to get closer, to break down their personal space. So you're right, always try and sit side by side. And I tell people that go speed dating to do the same thing. You're not forced. In speed dating, maybe you meet 30 people in one night. The women tend to sit down and the men move around every 3 minutes. So don't sit down right opposite them. Sit next to them and then talk to them about what you can see. Talk to them about other people. And they're going to think, who's this person sitting next to me? They're a bit cheeky. They're a bit different. And you're going to have a chance to really bond with them.
Yes.
Because there's so many barriers in life that are just blocking us from meeting the right people. So if you can eliminate them, as many as possible, just do it. And I think fear is one of the reasons that people are blocked from really, really embracing their being single. What would you do to someone that's really, really nervous? What would you say to someone who's really, really nervous about being single again?
Well, like not knowing where to start. I always get like, well, how do I meet people? Like, how do I meet other singles? How am I going to, meet guys during COVID? Like, what do I do? So again, eliminating that fear by, putting yourself in new environments. So I like to talk about switching up your routine. So rather than working from home every day, in your four walls where you're not going to meet somebody, why not go to a cafe with a patio where you feel safe and you may have the opportunity to come into, the same radius as somebody else that's working on their computer, and you make eye contact, and next thing you know, you talk about, what you do for work, and boom, there's, and you've met a stranger. So switching up your routine, going through, spending time in different neighborhoods, working in a park, packing a picnic, and also date yourself. I think it's really important. I used to say, take yourself out for dinner, sit at the bar, order a steak, have a salad and a glass of wine, bring a book. Don't be on your laptop, don't be on your phone, because again, nobody's going to want to interrupt you. But if you have a book, it's it's a good icebreaker. It's a quick conversational, like, oh, what book are you reading? And boom, you're connecting on what this person's reading. So you really be strategic. It's about being strategic and thinking it through and planning in your agenda when you're actually going to do these things. So Wednesday between 2 and 4, I'm going to Trinity Bellwoods. I'm going to work at Starbucks. I'm going to do this, so that you're actually being strategic. It's like you're scheduling time in your agenda like you would for work or a meeting, but you're scheduling time to put yourself out there. And that's important. A lot of times people don't think about their love life or think about, putting themselves out there and meeting new people because they're so focused on work, gym, and their routines that this part slips. And that's where coaches come in.
You're right. I think it's about breaking patterns. What you've been doing so far hasn't been working. You've got your routines, things you like to do. If you can switch things up, go to new places, try new things. Some people just spend all their time using dating apps and dating sites, and they have their place to some degree. But if you've done that and it's not working, get yourself out there in the real world. It's easier than it was before now. You can go to parks, you can walk around, go and say hello to people, ask them for directions, say that you're new in town and ask them where's good, where can they go. That's a great icebreaker. But it's about getting out there, and you're right about barriers as well. Don't have your phone out if you're sat in a coffee shop. Don't stare at the phone. Don't have headphones on if you go to the gym. Even though you can't go to the gym right now, whatever you're doing, don't have the headphones on if you're going to go for a run. Because people can't approach you. You're just having barriers there. And people have emotional barriers. They have real life barriers. But if you want to really, really embrace being single, go out there with no obstacles in your way and keep your path as clear as you can and do as many new things as you can. You're right, schedule them in. If there's any events you can go to, any friends' parties, any barbecues in someone's back garden, get out there. You never know who might be there, who might be able to introduce you.
Exactly. No, and that's like the best advice we can give singles, right? But to really practice it, not just think about it, but really put yourself there.
And taking action on this.
Mm-hmm.
People have plans and they can get swayed very, very quickly. They can get distracted, they can get bored. And that's why it's so important to work with a dating coach like us, because we're going to keep you on track. We're going to make sure you do what you say you do. We're going to keep you all the way. We're going to be with you to support you and make sure you keep going right till the end. This is the whole purpose of what we do, and we love it, don't we?
Yes, I think, it's all about accountability. And when I think about, reasons why people hire a dating coach or a matchmaker, it's to help them manage their dating lifestyle. It's no different than hiring a personal trainer when you want to get fit and really see results. Like you can go to the gym every day and feel like you're working out, but, still kind of have the same body type. And maybe you want to get a little leaner. Maybe you want to get more toned. Same with matchmaking and dating coaching. Maybe you want to up your dating game. Maybe you want to really increase your dating skills. Maybe you want to, work on your image. I've done image consulting. I've taken clients shopping. We've done wardrobe and styling, which it's amazing, like when, they'll wear the clothes right out of the store. Like that's when you're like, wow, like, and the expression on their face, and they're so happy, and the confidence rises, and they just feel like a whole new person. So it's really simple things from, tweaking any appearance or working on your inner self that can really make a big difference.
We will tell you what needs to be told, and we will tell you the changes you need to make, and we will save you making all the mistakes that everyone else makes. Because we've seen it time and time again, haven't we?
Yes, and again, we're like that, we're going to show you your blind spots. And sometimes family and friends, they're not going to tell you exactly what maybe you need to hear, but we do it in, a respectful manner. We ask, are you open to receiving feedback? And it's constructive. We're not here to make people feel worthless. We're here to motivate, uplift, and enhance, their beauty, their skills, whatever it is. And in the end, it's a positive experience for everyone, because we're doing our job, and they're actually, meeting people and feeling excited to date again and excited to find love.
We're here to empower you. That's what we do, isn't it? We're gonna change your lives. I'm going to give you some top 6 tips for embracing being single. And when I've read them out, Shani, I'd love to hear your opinion on them too. Number 1, don't feel that you're alone. Just because your friends and family might be settled down doesn't mean that there aren't millions and millions of other singles all in exactly the same boat who would absolutely love to meet you. You're not alone, and if you're single now, it's a temporary phase and you'll soon find someone lovely. Number 2, because you're single, you can do things on your terms. You are free to do whatever you want to do and to go wherever you want to go. No one else will tell you that you have to do something. So make the most of the time. Go out there and enjoy yourself and do the things that you've always wanted to do. Because one day, when you're paired off or married off, you might not have the chance again. Number 3, this is your chance to be more creative. Because spending time alone is linked in a massive increase in creative thinking. And spending more time alone will force you to be a deeper thinker and could lead you to solutions and projects that maybe you have never considered otherwise. It's a time for a new start, to reboot and to reflect. Number 4, we talked about gratitude, but also make time for your friends and family, your support circle. They will always be your friends and family, and when you're with a partner, maybe you'll neglect them in the future. So use them and spend the time that you have. It's an absolute gift. Number 5, I mentioned this before, but use the time to work on yourself and to improve yourself. Hit the gym, go out there, learn some new skills, make yourself more dateable. And number 6, use this time that you have to work out what you truly want. Not what someone else tells you that you want to have. What sort of partner do you really want to have in the long term? I want you to take advantage of being single now. Have fun and find yourself again. Another relationship will come when you're ready for this. Shani, what are your thoughts on my top tips there?
Oh, wow. You know what? I agree with all 6 tips. They're all wonderful. And like you said, being creative, and, I love the part about establishing, strong relationships with friends and family, because a lot of times if we lack those relationships, with friends and family, and we're kind of, isolated in our own bubble, that's going to make it harder to enter a new relationship with a spouse. So work on the relationships you already have with people, make plans with them, reach out to them, ask them how they are. Sometimes we have to work on being selfless and really think more about, other people and checking in with them. And the more love and the more, we put ourselves out there and check in with people, the more we're going to get back. And you're going to feel great, because it's like, you're not like, oh, I haven't talked to that person in 3 months. You're going to feel like, you know what, I'm checking in with them. I'm keeping my word. I'm keeping my integrity. So I really like that point. Also, like you said, I call this time a reset. This is definitely our time for personal, reflection and thinking about our personal development, and working on those goals that we haven't done. Maybe it's, cleansing your closet, giving yourself a revamp, and decluttering your home, so that you can make space for somebody to come into it. Maybe it's, losing 5 to 10 pounds, those last 10 pounds that have been really difficult. Maybe it's, joining a cooking group online that's going to help you, eat healthy meals and feel great. there's so many resources out there. There's, so many things we have out there at our disposal. It's just really about writing down, getting very strategic, making a list so that you can follow through it. I feel like if we don't, I'm someone who likes to write stuff down. I'm old school. So I feel like when you write that down, it becomes real. And then, crossing it off feels great. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself and work at your own pace.
Absolutely. This is your chance to do this now. And I want you to have fun with this. I hope we've empowered you with our information, and I hope you take everything we've said to you on board. Shannon, thank you so much for joining me. Can you tell my listeners how they would find you if they want to get hold of you?
Yes, so my website is shanyinthecity.com, and we're still doing free virtual matchmaking consults for Toronto singles, as well, dating coaching internationally as well. You can find me there. You can follow me on social media handles are all Shany in the City. And I'd love to connect with you. And it's been a pleasure. I'm so happy I got to meet with you, James, virtually. And I really enjoyed the interview with you. So thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on. I really enjoyed it too. So thank you. Have a nice day. And goodbye for now.
Okay, bye, James.
Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespriest.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.